They tried to steal my ranch. I made sure they regretted it. I was sitting on the porch of my ranch, sipping black coffee from a chipped ceramic mug that had survived more branding seasons than I could count, when it arrived at a letter, no warning. No courtesy call, just a pristine, cream-colored envelope with a government-style seal stamped in the corner. I expected maybe a property tax adjustment or something from the county. What I got instead made me spit my coffee halfway across the deck. According to the document, official-looking with its numbered codes and bureaucratic jargon, my 50-acre ranch was no longer fully mine. Apparently, some neighborhood homeowners association, one I had never been a part of, had voted to designate my ranch as community property. Community property, the same land my grandfather broke his back taming. The same land my father had bled for. The same land I'd put every dime of my bar fights, blood, and beer money into. I reread the letter twice. Then I laughed. Loud, hearty, gut-level laughter. But the laughter didn't last, especially not when I read the part that said, effective immediately, all fencing, signage, and private property barriers must be removed to ensure unrestricted community access per new HOA guidelines. My mug hit the deck. Hard. Shattered into 100 pieces. That MY ranch, my sanctuary, my goddamn home, was under siege by a bunch of polo shirt pencil pushers with clipboards and egos. And they weren't even subtle about it. An hour later, the first car arrived, tan sedan. HOA logo on the side, like some bad parody of government authority. Out stepped a woman who looked like she'd lost a battle with a department store sale rack. Her name was Margaret Dawson, and everything about her screamed artificial authority. From the 3 sizes too small blazer to the tight bun pulling her face taut with permanent self-righteousness. Behind her were 2 other HOA members, hovering like unpaid interns at a villain convention. Mr. McAllister, Margaret cooed in a tone that made my skin itch. I believe you've received our letter. Yeah, I replied, arms folded across my chest. I lined the chicken coop with it. Unfazed, she kept that fake smile plastered across her face like it had been stapled there in the 7th grade. We'd like to discuss the transition of your land into shared neighborhood access. I said nothing, just stared. Margaret misread my silence as confusion. Oh, I see. Perhaps there's a misunderstanding, she continued, flipping pages on her clipboard. You see, our board voted unanimously to include your property within the HOA's jurisdiction based on its historical use as informal green space for the neighborhood. Historical use? I echoed. Well, yes. Over the years, many residents have enjoyed casual walks across the outer fields, and it's a working cattle ranch. Yes, well, she said, brushing that off like I'd told her the color of the sky. We're simply formalizing the relationship. You mean you're stealing my land? Margaret chuckled, the way a kindergarten teacher might laugh if you tried to explain quantum mechanics to a child. Not stealing. Sharing. For the community. Before I could formulate a reply that didn't include the words trespassing or shotgun, a silver SUV pulled up behind her sedan. A family got out. 2 parents, 2 kids, and a golden retriever, like they were about to tailgate in my pasture. The dad tossed a frisbee, the kids screamed with delight, and the dog immediately ran toward my cattle like it had a job interview. Whoa, 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 I called out, striding toward them. What the hell do y'all think you're doing? The HOA opened the land, the dad said casually. Said we could come and enjoy it. Margaret, I growled. She smiled wider, like I was doing exactly what she expected. Jack, this is exactly what I meant by community engagement. Lady, I said, brushing her hand off my shoulder, if you don't get off my land and take your band of frisbee-chucking invaders with you, I'm about to make a scene your HOA handbook doesn't cover. That got her attention. Her eyes hardened. You'll be hearing from our lawyer, she snapped. You'll be hearing from my fence, I replied. The moment they left, I called Curtis. Curtis Brightman, my attorney. He's the kind of guy who doesn't just practice property law. He dissects it like a bomb squad technician defusing a live grenade. Curtis picked up on the first ring. Talk to me. I've got a ranch full of trespassers and a homeowners association trying to gentrify my cattle. I told him, you need fences. I've got fences. Then electrify them. That night, I didn't sleep. I read county zoning laws like they were bedtime stories. I poured through deed records, easement agreements, tax filings, and every dusty archive I could get my hands on. The next day, I walked into the HOA office, if you could call a glorified broom closet with a fake ficus in office, and dropped a folder on Margaret's desk. "What's this?" she asked, arching a penciled brow. "A bill," I said. She blinked. "Excuse me. If this land has been part of the HOA for years, like your little annexation letter claimed, then you've been delinquent on your dues. 20 years. I did the math. You owe me $212,000. Her face went pale. "This is absurd." "No," I said. "What's absurd is your belief that some committee vote gives you the right to claim private property like it's a potluck item." Her jaw opened, then closed as I left her with the bill and one final note. Until this is resolved, I'll be modifying the land to protect my community interests. Then I called the fence company. By the following weekend, the property looked like a cross between Fort Knox and Jurassic Park. Reinforced fences, motion sensors, floodlights, cameras with infrared, and an electric perimeter. Not lethal, of course, but strong enough to give any curious jogger a firm reminder of private boundaries. The sign I added out front was my favorite part. "Welcome to McAllister Ranch. Trespassers will be zapped." By Monday, my phone was blowing up. The HOA sent a cease and desist letter claiming my fence violated community standards. I sent back an invoice for security and landscaping services rendered on behalf of the community property they insisted they owned. Curtis included a demand letter. If they continued asserting jurisdiction over my ranch, they'd owe back taxes, maintenance fees, liability coverage, and yes, HOA dues, total, for $148,000 and rising. That night, I sat on my porch sipping a beer while watching a group of folks in lawn chairs and folding tables attempt a picnic in my pasture. It didn't end well. First kid to touch the fence got a zap that made him leap back 3 feet like he'd stepped on a rattlesnake. Screams. Crying. Margaret showed up 30 minutes later, red-faced and screeching about legal violations. That I leaned over the gate. "This isn't over, Margaret." She spat back. "You're a menace." "No, ma'am," I replied. "I'm the homeowner." By the end of the week, word got out. The HOA was crumbling. A group of residents found out about the new dues increase, the one Margaret tried to sneak through to cover her legal debacle. Turns out, not everyone in suburbia likes being part of a land theft scheme. Margaret's reputation tanked faster than a lead fishing lure. The next meeting was brutal. Mr. Watkins, a soft-spoken retiree who used to bring Margaret cookies during meetings, stood up and called her a dictator. "You lied to us," he said, "and now we're paying for it." Margaret tried to defend herself, said she was acting in the best interest of the community. Then I stood up in the back of the room. "You claim my ranch," I said. "Now you're trying to unclaim responsibility." That night, they voted. Margaret was removed as HOA president by overwhelming majority. 2 days later, a moving truck pulled up to her house. She didn't wave goodbye. The next morning, a knock came on my door. 3 board members, Derek, Lisa, and that nervous one whose name I never remembered, stood on my porch. "We need a new president," Derek said sheepishly. And we were thinking, "No, just hear us out." "No, but if you take over," Lisa interrupted, "you could dissolve the HOA entirely." Now that made me pause. No more dues. None. No more fence regulations. No more absurd lawn height requirements. No more Margaret. Gone. I took a long breath. Fine. I'll do it. But I'm setting the first agenda. Bonfire. We're burning the rule books. 1 week later, the HOA was officially dead, dissolved, erased, gone. The homeowners got their freedom. The fences stayed. The signs stayed. And for the first time in years, the neighborhood felt like a neighborhood, not a gated cult. I threw a barbecue that Saturday. Curtis brought whiskey. Lisa brought ribs. Derek brought his dad's guitar as the sun dipped behind the hills. I stood by the fire pit, beer in one hand, grilled sausage in the other, and smiled. My land, I whispered, always will be.